Welcome back to Imagination Station Network, and again, he's bored of my wee voice, but we're back here with another amazing guest. But before we start, because I always get too ahead of myself, how are you feeling today?
Oh, I'm pretty good, I think.
Good.
Yeah.
Just think people forget to ask people that, and I like it when somebody stops and says, how are you feeling today? So
yeah, and then being quiet enough to hear the answer.
Exactly, and that's hard for me. But we're here, and this is season 2, episode 4. So we made it to another season, and this is great.
Good.
So I'll let you introduce yourself.
My name's Sara Best. I am an artist, a creative, a producer. I live off grid. I am passionate about creativity and the place it has within everyone's lives, and making sure that there is accessible provision that encourages participation, encourages everyone to get in there and get involved. So
and
that's a bit about
I can
me.
tell straight away, and I don't mind putting my money where my mouth is and saying, we had a conversation off the camera, and it was that, because guys hate it when I talk, what are we talking about off the camera? And I say, well, you can tell that somebody who is, and I said before, passionate but not privileged, the fact that you've came in and you've shot that out in the first less than 5 minutes means you're exactly what you say here. A lot of people go through life and they can say stuff that, and as I said to you, I'm autistic and ADHD, and I'm one of these wee spiritual guys who you'll find we've already spoken about mushrooms, and you'll find me in the woods. If I'm really struggling, the woods or the sea.
Yeah.
And I find energy for people is just like, you've got a calming energy. You can tell when I first came in, I was like, and all you guys know with me, I'm 5 o'clock in the morning, I am up and I am good to go. And it's like, when the podcast room is supposed to be like a wee safe space for me. So this is my world. Not everybody gets to see that, and it's the right people that get to come in. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for asking me.
It's like, you've got a good dress sense. You dress the way you talk, and I can't explain that in any other way. Obviously, I'm sitting here in bright orange, but people who have a certain aura about themselves dress the way they conduct themselves. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think colour and how you present yourself to the world is very important, and that chops and changes for me, actually. And I have days where I'm in bright orange,
yes,
and days when I'm
represent.
Days when I feel a bit more subdued, and that's probably reflected in the colours that I'm choosing. And then a lot of my black house days are just black house clothes, because I'm chopping wood and carrying.
Brilliant, man! You're living the dream.
I kind of am living the dream. It's good. I've always wanted to live lightly and make sure that I was having as little impact on the earth as possible. But actually, the reality is that you kind of need a community to live sustainably.
You do. So, we've said that before, and the guys will tell you down the stairs, I'm always about, this is it. You'll only get a postcard, and I'll be away on my island, just me and maybe one other house 5 miles away from me on an island. That is genuinely the dream since I was like 8 or 9. I always think, well, why being just a youngster and thinking like that? It's a safe feeling, isn't it? But you need that, like you said, the community. Like when I started this, it was just me. But you're right, you need that community of people who have got the same ethic.
Absolutely.
But you've got to be careful who you get into, I can't say get into bed with, but people who you've got to have the right ethics. Like we're always thinking like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to make sure the people around you align with kind of how you feel about life. And then we all have different skills to bring, don't we? We kind of bring different things into the pot. And as if you work together as a team, then you can make amazing things happen. So synergy.
It has synergy and skill or a will, because if you're willing to try it, you can pick up the skill.
Absolutely. Positive, intentful direction.
Yes, man. I'm liking these words. I'm a word guy. I'm probably going to steal half of these and I'm like, spit them back out to the team later. So tell us how your journey started. So the idea is, I know a lot of people probably haven't seen the podcast, and if you're just new here, the podcast is about getting people out for behind the couch. There's nobody behind your couch, by the way, but it's like getting because I was once this person who was like, I would never wear orange because I was ridiculed when I was younger. I only took up art when I was 37, and I had to get clean and sober in order for me to realise the world wasn't what I thought it was. And I've no stopped since then. So the idea of the podcast is to show others the way, because we'll light it up like a wee torch.
Yeah. Well, do you know, my journey's been kind of long.
Hey, go for it.
In there. I'm approaching another big decade, so that's something. But it started with a love of dance and art and drawing and theatre, and then I kind of diverted into a pure maths degree.
Wow.
And then came back and came up to Scotland in my early 20s, many decades ago now, and just immersed myself in community theatre. I was all about wanting to enable people that wouldn't necessarily have an opportunity to have their voice heard, to have their voice heard. So that's, I started working with a company called Lung Ha, which is a wonderful company based in Edinburgh that works with people of all ability and puts on the most powerful theatre. And then kind of was doing my dance work, creative kind of dance practice in places like Dance Base and the Assembly Rooms, as it was then. And then, and it kind of just, my life has always been about finding and being in a creative expression, just being able to be free creatively. So I've always needed the work that I do to sit with that, so that it's not been, okay, I can be creative outside of my work. My work is creative. My work is my creative journey, and is my life, actually. You know, I live to work a bit, in the sense that everything I do feeds into the work, to the journey, and this mission of sharing creative spaces that enable joy. And when we feel joy, we relax, and that's where healing starts. You know, when we soften enough to allow ourselves to let go of guarding, to let go of tension, to be less fearful, to actually kind of soften into a rest that allows, like, I don't know, I'm a spiritual person, that divine flow, divine kind of life stream, inspiration, a bit like the mushrooms we were talking, the mycelium that moves through everything. And I believe that we have a kind of universal energy.
Do you have an animal, or do you have a spiritual animal?
Well, do you know, when a few years ago, I trained as a sound therapist, and we had a lovely drum journey, and I met white buffalo, a white snake.
Nice.
And I saw these infinite planes, and I felt like it's about peace and joy for me. And those two animals, the buffalo represents for me that kind of sense of peace. The white buffalo.
Wow, man! So
when we meet the white buffalo, there'll be peace on earth. Apparently,
hey, man,
that would be good, wouldn't it? God damn it!
Hey, well, peace on earth. I'm always
imagine peace. I like that.
We can create our own wee bit of peace. So I'm the mouse, and if I ever denied it, so when I write books, I put myself in as the wee mouse in the book.
Oh.
But I never doubt that it came to me in like you say, like a vision. It's your podcast, so I won't share too much. And I went and done a totem pole, and you're only supposed to do your top totem once in your life, and you'll never believe all these 75 cards what came out, the wee mouse.
Oh.
And it's like, so I'm meant to be the mouse. I'm into all that stuff. I believe in a lot of stuff that it cannot be true unless that physically you are bringing it into the world. And
Absolutely.
There's an energy that runs through it, and you're just saying, like, we tap into that, then we can create. And I said yesterday to the other guest, I was like, did you know there's a new test that says the longevity of life has been linked to creativity? And I said, and I truly believe that.
Yeah, well,
truly believe that.
Vital energy,
of course
isn't it?
It is, man.
Creative energy is that vital kind of engaged. When we're perhaps in a place of silence, we can hear more deeply, and things unfold more naturally. And it's a dynamic surfing of the waves of life, almost, 100%. Isn't it?
And did you? I'm going off on a wee tangent here, but did you get the same buzz for doing the maths as what you did the creativity? Obviously, I've picked up on that one.
Do you know? Yes.
I thought so, because when you said that.
Yeah, pure maths for me was something about. It had that same kind of, people talk of the aha moment.
When I always talk about the aha moments.
When everything clicks into place and you go, that's what it means. And I would work, I am a hard worker, I'm a grafter. And I would work really, really hard at the subjects and I wouldn't understand. And then suddenly everything would just almost be like a download, and it would go click, 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 click. And then I'd go, yes, I've got it. And then I'd be sailing, and it's very much about, it sort of reflects life and art for me. It's like everything.
I can so resonate with that, because I've just had a conversation there with Jan before you came in, and I was like, some of the stuff that we've got going on, until it's there, I cannot explain it. Yeah. But when it's there, then I'm like,
Yeah.
And it's like, here we go.
Yeah.
And I said, I did that for this and that and that and that, and that's why we ended up here. It's fascinating, man. Like creatives, we are the same, but we are different.
Yeah.
But when the commonality comes, we go for it.
Yeah, well, we've each got our own unique tincture, haven't we?
Course.
And the way that we kind of express that flowing energy through us, and whether that's through dance or art or even production work, you know, kind of what it's organising other people's creativity.
Yes.
It's there. It's threading through, and our flavour of ourselves, this soul's journey that we have, it enables that to be expressed in a unique way.
Yes,
so
and
that's what we want. We want each individual uniqueness to make the whole.
Until I started this, then I'm not selfish. I was not ready for the light, to watch the light come on in other people's journey. That really, like, I'm an emotional guy. I don't mind telling folk I've cried myself to sleep twice last week, just because it's emotions. Like, I feel it, and I feel the world, good, bad, and whatever in between. But even this, so this is by a good friend, the Jag Art 82, and he's done a lot for us, part of the team, and he created that for me because Irish ancestors, shillelagh, and I always wanted my own one because we had one behind the door, and the shillelagh was why I got into martial arts. But this washed up on Spittle Beach, and the energy now lives with me. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
It's not about there's a bit of wood. Look at the graft it's went into. You know, he's made me that for scratch for one big bit of wood. Now it lives with me. Do you know, it's that energy that people leave.
Absolutely, and the stories behind
yes.
that. Yeah. It's like a talking stick.
It's like a wee Snoopy.
Yeah, there is a dog there, isn't there? There totally is a dog there with the big ears.
So it's Out of the Woods, if anybody wants to check him out on Facebook. Out of the Woods, the guy's name's Sean and his partner's Kim. And it's phenomenal. I'm just trying to unsmooth it a wee bit because it's... But again, like creatives, when they want to share their work with me, I'm so humble about it. It's like yourself sitting there. We've rhymed off lots of stuff that we've got commonality already, and we're only 10 minutes in. But when people are wanting to share their worth with you, that should mean more than $1 million. Dollars American, James? £1 million. Do you know what it should be? I can't explain it. It's something that I've learned to embrace, because I'm quite a shy guy really inside, but when I meet somebody who has an energy that matches, it's like, let's go for it, let's just see what we do, let's do podcasts. And sometimes you overwhelm yourself with being overwhelmed, but it feels great.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's like people are trudging this road of happy destiny, they say, and somebody can trudge together, and that's what it is.
I think we all just need to realise the potential that we have, and creativity enables new ideas. It facilitates change, and that's what I like. I like to challenge people. I like to rock boats. I like to ensure that the right way is coming through, and I don't mean that in a dogmatic way. I mean the sort of the way that's in balance, the way of peace, the way of joy, the way that we can all find a commonality and an understanding when something that feels right. This is how we should be treating each other, with kindness, with respect, with love. 100%. This is the way of peace is surely has to be what we're doing, and that's the way of balance. You know, when the masculine and feminine are in balance.
You are me, alpha and omega. I go with. It's like you're just telling one of my stories. It's like alpha, omega, and the bits in between. It's the same, man.
Absolutely.
And when we were saying something there, like Rob, when he sat on the couch, and I says to him, you know, I walked out of one of your shows, and he's like, and I was just delivering it, like, you know, but I also went to one of your other shows, and it was the best thing ever. He actually sent me a wee link, and I get to watch it now and again. But to have that respect in the art world is something that people can take it the wrong way. Rob's a great guy, and I say, you know, I didn't like that one. Obviously, I've got other things going on, but we didn't like that one, but we loved that one.
Yeah.
And you know, it's the same as paintings. When I first started, and people were like, "Oh, I'm like, what am I going to do? That's it. I'm done. I'm finished." And I'd done a Lowry, and I crushed loads of paintings. But the journey on that, you know, the journey of discovering that, no, everybody's going to like your stuff. You know, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
First of all, you have to go to work on yourself before you go to work on others, and that's how that transcended.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's so important. I don't know how long I've got left on the planet, but what I've got left, I'm sure it's shit going to go and show people this is what I do. But it's like people take confidence, the wrong kind of confidence, the wrong way. Whereas I'm always looking to see how can I explain it? I'm obviously gone round the back way. We go to a lot of schools, and I see a lot of underdogs getting left to the side. I myself was an underdog, you know, and I like to take them and nurture them a wee bit.
Yeah.
That's where the magic is for me. Yeah. I was a bit on a big tangent, but that's the magic.
That's same for me. I've always wanted to enable those that were, you know, even the school system, it kind of labels people from a really early age. And I did a lot of forest school trained, so I did a lot of forest school work and creative arts work with young people that have been kind of almost taken out of the system and said they weren't good. They were going down a pathway that wasn't right. And we've shown them that all they need is to hear that that what they offer is, there's beauty in what they offer, that they have something to say, that has value. And if you're constantly told by a system that you aren't worth anything, or you're not doing well enough, or you're not this, that enough, you know, you internalize that. And we need ways of changing that, of bringing those people that aren't being heard by society to come up and actually be heard by all.
You would have liked one of the other point, one of the first ones we did, and he hit, and I tell this all the time, he hit the nail on the head. Mike said schools are churning out sausages, 2x4 sausages, all the same size, all the same thing. So people like myself who were neurodivergent, my mum worked at the school, were getting left to the side. Now I'm fortunate because I got to here, but I had to go through all that 37 years of trying to get here. By the way, I'm 44 now. So you'll see me coming out from behind the camera there because, and I'm going to double check it because that's because James didn't delete the stuff off his phone. So he's missed 15 minutes of great conversation. So we're going to get it, and the universe wants us to do it again. So I accept that after I had a wee meltdown there. So
you didn't.
So what were we saying? We were talking about the birth. So I'm 44 this year, and the 44 years I've been on this planet has not been easy. But like we were saying about the schools and how the schools, they want people who are, and I get it because the people, they want worker ants. What about the creative ants? I'm using us as ants. What about the creative humans? Let's just use one another. What about us who are out in there? And I ended up in care. I was in the care system, you know, and I come from a good family, but I don't feel as if I was let down. But it is a kind of like that. It's that not going through any hardship or anything. Just I was a bad boy, but I wasn't. I loved drawing and I loved just sitting doodling. Whereas I didn't pick that back up until the 17th of July 2020. And I had to stop taking drinking drugs in order for me to realise the potential of what I could achieve. Because everything else was holding us back. But the stuff we were talking about getting out into nature and being at one, that's important. That stuff should be taught in schools.
It should. And I think it is beginning to more and more. I think there's an understanding that the individual is as important as that kind of, that worker bee kind of concept. But there does feel like so many things need to be ticked within a system that you can't, the individual and the one that doesn't quite fit into the boxes probably needs to find other outlets, which is kind of where youth theatre comes in. It's where, you know, your dance classes, your art classes, all the stuff that you're doing outside, or even kind of, you know, I mean, just being able to find a place where you feel safe and you are able to express yourself completely and fully. And the school system is not necessarily always going to be that place.
No.
So I home educated my child because I wanted to ensure that he would keep being the creative, unique individual that he was, which can often be stamped out of us. You know, we're within the school system, and he's doing an MA at university, studying kind of, I kind of say he's studying the nature of consciousness. He kind of is. He's a philosopher, but he's also a performer.
What's his name?
And an artist, Luca Best.
Well done, man.
Yeah.
And you know that he'll have qualities that other people don't have, and I don't mind saying that. Like I spent my days hiding in the bushes, literally building dens, and my mum shouting me in, and they were my happiest times because trees aren't going to harm you. The wee animals aren't going to harm you, you know. And that was my kind of home education, because when I was bad at school, then I would go and do that. It's like it's we're not here just to be programmed to go and fit in the system.
No, and we need to listen quietly into our own unique journey, and that's creativity, isn't it? It's kind of coming into an understanding that we could have a unique way of expressing ourselves, and actually the world needs to hear that.
Of course it does.
You know, and that's what I've always been about, is trying to get people that wouldn't necessarily feel that they had anything to say up on a platform to say it, you know, to kind of speak their truth, whether that's through dance, through visual art, through theatre.
Yeah.
You know, that let's challenge some of the ideas that we're given as the mainstream, and this is how it should be. You know, let's try and rock the boat a bit, like be creative in finding a new way to exist in the world, because it's not working currently, is it? Really, like we have so much imbalance within our world, so much
I
imbalance.
spoke to somebody who's very similar to you, and they said, go and cast a pebble in the water.
Yeah, watch the ripples.
And watch it, because, you know, it's like the same as like, this is the only day like this. You'll have no other day like this.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your 24 hours?
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, what is it they always say? Tomorrow's borrowed. Today's the gift, because it's called the present.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've got that right. I'm taking that one. And, you know, it's so true, man. We're so conscious of trying to climb. And again, back to the creatives who are trying to get somewhere. Yes, you know, well done in doing that. But, you know, the people who you're climbing over, you know, you need to remember them before when you come back down. I'm not seeing a lot of humility and humbleness. And that's why I hide myself away here and do my thing. Now, I'm not saying everybody's like that. Just the people who I've dealt with in the last 4 or 5, 6 years. Present company.
Yeah. We need humility. We need to feel part of the whole, because, you know, we are all, I mean, for want of a better word, we are all one. And we are all here to ensure that the best possible outcomes can manifest, you know. So we live a life in gratitude. We live a humble life, not needing to be on the top, but just needing to have power alongside each other. That's when peace happens, I think. Yes. That's when joy bubbles up. And that's, for me, what I love about other production work I do, which through festivals and kind of arts experiences like Duns Playfest, you know, that to enable a space where people can come together, relax, feel themselves, feel joyful, and challenge some of the ideas that they might have, move, grow. You know, these are all important things, and creativity is that wellspring for me. It's a wellspring which enables health, actually.
But nobody challenges it. I like that. Nobody really challenges it. They just accept. You just accept that this is there and that's it. You just accept that what you're watching this on is there. Yes, physically it's there, but there's the beyond that. You know, there's all the mess over there that you don't see in my studio. But that's the possibilities that you've just explained for me, and that's why you're good at what you do, because people don't go into the lens to explain about the process of how you can get there. Yes, like you couldn't sit me in a classroom, and I couldn't sit there because I'm moving already, but I couldn't sit there, and I never have done, because I get antsy and I get agitated. But you put me in somewhere where you're moving something, or you're creating something, or I'll still be the guy who sits in the back. And society's done that. Like, I'll still sit and watch, and I like to contribute.
Yeah.
But imagine, right, just for a second, that James is back in the classroom, and somebody yourself said, you know, can you come try fold this over and do that, and then I'll pass it on to somebody. What does that do? You know, that gives me a lift that I don't need to interact, but I can be a part of it. Yeah. And like you said, everything you just said there is valued.
Yeah, and I think it's also about perspective, isn't it? Like, we need those. I was the sort of maverick artist that used to come into spaces and get kids standing on desks and looking at things from different ways, or kind of just responding from that intuitive place, rather than having to always engage the mind. Let's just drop down into the body and play from there. Be playful, be vulnerable, be creative, because creativity is about vulnerability. When you're putting something out there,
fear,
you know,
fear,
absolutely.
Fear. I'm always talking about fear.
Yeah,
you remind me of somebody when I went and done the Big Brother. I've been to lots of Big Brother auditions, and she's like, "Put your body into a word," and I'm like, "Right," and I said, "Take me back to the performing arts days," and I'm like, and then I had to struggle trying to find what letter I wanted to put my body into. And it's like, but see, when I left there, I felt great. Whether I got through or not, I was like, you know what? Let's remember what made you feel great. And not everybody's always talking about the inner child. Let's bring the inner child into the adult and go, you know, how can we get that forward?
Yeah.
Every day, get on your carpet, make your body into a number or whatever. I want to see the pictures. But it is, you're an energetic person. I love the fact is that when people come in here, and I don't know what they're going to expect, but when we start talking and we start using our hands and that's me. This is genuinely, sincerely James Alexander Gaffney. This is who I am, and but you cannot always be that person, because people need you to be somebody else at some point, and that's the world where you're like,
see, I've tried desperately throughout my life to be able to just be me within it, and I've always been self-employed. I've always sort of had an idea about what do I want to do next, right? Is it large scale mural? Is it theatre? Is it performance and mask work? Right, I'll kind of imagine myself in that space, and then the work would be offered to me.
Brilliant.
So it was almost, that whole kind of create your own reality.
Yeah.
I feel I know that this to be true. I know that we can, and it's not about privileges. It is about passion. It is about being able to be clear about the direction you want to take and be sure and unfearful. So it's boldness. Boldness has genius.
Of course it does.
And that's the thing that we've got to...
You're sparking the next generation.
Yeah.
Without the words there, you're sparking the next generation.
And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do at Duns Playfest as well, is just being able to bring people into a space where they can participate and create and make theatre, have their voice heard. A new piece of writing that explores something is brought onto stage, is brought to life, is witnessed and held by an audience.
So you reminded me of something. I love being humbled, right? You've humbled me there. So when I went and did a project with underprivileged kids, and that's where my heart lies. So I went and I did it, and they were judging. I wrote something, I took it along, and they were like, "But magic doesn't exist." And I'm quite good at it. Where I'm like, "Oh, all right." So I said, "Get the pen," and I said, "Write this down." So James went along to said place, and he had a magic pen. And I said, "Right, you finished?" "Yep." I said, "So this is real, this bit of paper, isn't it?" "Yep." I said, "Read that out," and he read it out, and I said, "So the pen's real?" "Yep." I said, "Those words are real on the page, aren't they?" "Yep." And then he said, "So that word magic's real, so you're," and he says, and his face just went, and I still talk to him about that, this youngster, and he's like, you really set something in motion then. And that's what it's all about, man. It's about giving that one. I don't know what would have happened if it went silent. I really the tough crowd, but that's where it's at for me. See these wee pockets? I call them TNTs, tiny noticeable things, wee tiny explosions that can happen.
Yeah.
So we're nearly out of time, but tell us, where can we find the Duns Playfest?
In Duns.
In Duns.
At the beginning of May each year, yearly festival, over 100 theatrical events from children, babes in arms to kind of octogenarians and beyond. We've got something that will interest and appeal to everyone, from a creative engagement workshop program to enable people to write their own work or perform their own work, to kind of family days that are free for a start.
Excellent.
And have lots of free. We've got a lot of free stuff. We have a cabaret stage, which is full of music and poetry and storytelling, and then a main stage, which is that's the paid part.
And there you go. Like I'm always saying, nothing's free. So it is free, but go along, see what it's like, and then give your feedback for it.
Yeah.
The whole point of this podcast, the whole point of us sitting here is exactly that. No, just the word free. Like I said, like getting the people from behind the couches and getting you out. I was once that person. I put one painting out in the world, and the rest is not so much history, but it's there. I took a risk, and I took the fear. Go along. I hate crowds, but I'm going to go along because you've built it up now. That now I'm like, I'm there already in my mind. Yeah. So
we're so used to kind of sitting and watching Netflix and passive entertainment through a digital medium. And actually, what we need to be is in the room, palpable, feeling it.
Smelling it,
man.
Feeling
it,
the whole thing,
feeling everything. And that's feeling is when we start being embodied. And when we start being embodied, then we feel into the magic.
Yes.
Then we feel into our creativity. Then the world's our oyster, because we can get into that flow and
empower yourself. Get yourself along to Duns Playfest. Yes. We'll be there as well. So that's us out of time. But thank you very much for your time.
It's good, thank you.
See, man, you've left this used to be a massage room, and now we're adding to the energy. Yeah. This building actually used to be a 17th century library.
Ah.
Aye. I don't know where I was coming with that. Came
full of knowledge.
So guys, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode as well. And be kind to yourself. Remember, you must go to work with yourself before you work with others. You are the most important person in your life. Thank you very much.
That's good. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody. If you have a creative journey you'd like to share on Imagination Station Network, drop us a wee message.